I am so excited to introduce you to our wonderful speaker this evening. Her name is Abbie Stenberg, and she's a young woman who is a great asset to the recovery community. As a peer recovery coach at Anchor, she uses her own experiences with addiction and recovery to help others find the same success. She was recently awarded the 2017 Rhode Island Recovery in Action Award at the Rally for Recovery. Please welcome Abbie Stenberg.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello. My name is Abbie Stenberg, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. What that means for me is that I have not found it necessary to use drugs or alcohol in 4 years. It is truly an honor to be here tonight to share my journey with you. I grew up in a beautiful home in Barrington, Rhode Island, with an older sister, a younger brother, and 2 parents who loved me. My father owned his own business, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I never wanted for a material thing. As a kid, I was involved in softball, gymnastics, and cheerleading. I was a really good student, and I was part of Students Against Destructive Decisions, secretary of the Barrington High School chapter my freshman year. On the outside, I was your typical kid, typical high school student, good grades, happy. Despite all these beautiful things, I really struggled internally. I always felt different. I felt like there was something wrong with me, like I was never going to be good enough for anyone. I struggled with depression and anxiety, and this was made far worse when my parents got divorced when I was 11. Sports were my only outlet. At 14 years old, I was injured in gymnastics, and I was prescribed Vicodin, a highly addictive painkiller. That's when my entire life changed. I, for the first time in my life, knew what it felt like to feel no pain, and I loved that feeling. Soon after, I started using recreational drugs like marijuana, and before I knew it, I was selling drugs in my high school. My life was completely out of control, really quickly. When I was 16, my parents decided to put me in a residential treatment program for adolescent girls with substance use disorder. I was completely out of control. They didn't know what to do with me. I was away for my entire junior year. I'm really grateful for that experience. During that time, I learned relapse prevention strategies. I learned coping skills. I got to the root of why I used in the first place. I even learned how to have fun again without drugs. I was a model patient. I graduated from that program, and I returned to my high school for my senior year. But when I went back to Barrington High School, I was offered drugs by 3rd period. Although I had learned so much from that program, it was as if it had all been for nothing. I had no idea how to move forward outside. I felt really isolated and lost and misunderstood, and I felt judged by my classmates. They didn't know what it was like to be in recovery. My life spiraled downward again very quickly. I progressed to harder drugs and riskier behavior. Somehow I managed to graduate high school, not really sure how. After that, the next few years were a total blur. My substance use intensified into adulthood, and my mom eventually caught me using and had to ask me to leave the home for their safety. I bounced around a lot, trying to find a place to live, feeling completely displaced and not like I belonged anywhere in the world. I became homeless. I was in and out of 12 treatment centers over the span of 4 years. I had multiple suicide attempts and 3 overdoses, but none of that really mattered. My experience was that the only thing that mattered was the drugs, was getting more, and I couldn't stop using on my own. I was more desperate than I'd ever been, and in February of 2013, I wandered into Anchor Recovery Community Center in Warwick. Someone told me they might be able to find me a place to go. I remember walking in there with nothing but a duffel bag. That was what my life had been reduced to. I had nothing left but the contents of a duffel bag. I remember dropping that bag on the floor and saying, "I have nowhere to go, please help me." I was taken into the back, and I met this older, hippie-looking guy who, didn't look really like he belonged there, and, he sold me hope. His name was Jim Gillen. Jim told me that recovery was possible, that he was living in long-term recovery, and that I could too. He told me I never had to feel this way again, and for some reason I believed him. For the first time in my life, I believed him, and I believed that there was another way of life. I got involved right away. I dedicated my life to recovery that day, and as a result, things have gotten better and better, and they continue to get better. The staff then found me sober housing. They got me connected with a recovery coach and with recovery meetings in the area. And before I knew it, I was like a part of the community. That was what had been missing for me all those years ago, was community. Having people around me who understood what I felt like, who were doing the same thing I was doing. The wraparound services were the missing link. That was what I needed. I needed to feel like I belonged. When I was in high school, I didn't have any peers around me who were doing the same thing. They didn't understand what it was like to be in recovery. They didn't tell me that it was okay, that I didn't want to use after school. They told me that this is what you do when you're a teenager, and I believed them, you know? So I learned that it was actually cool to be in recovery and that life gets better. I'm a passionate advocate for this stuff. Recovery has transformed my life into something that I never knew I could have before I came in here. I have my family in my life again. I'm an active member in this community. You know, I've learned how to live again without drugs and how to have purpose in my life. I'm currently pursuing a degree in social work at the Community College of Rhode Island. I work as a peer recovery specialist full-time at Anchor Recovery Community Center, part of the Providence Center. I also work directly with the students at Anchor Learning Academy, which is our recovery high school. That's the most important thing I do. It's where I find myself truly passionate about the work that we do and the help that we provide to people. It's incredible to watch these students grow and learn in an environment that's safe for them. Most of them tell me that after school and on the weekends is the most difficult time for them. We want to fill in that gap. I'm dedicated to paying it forward today. Paying it forward to my mom, who never gave up on me in all of the trials and tribulations, time and time again, in and out of treatment. She always stood by me, and she's here tonight with me. Thank you, Mom. I'm also dedicated to paying it forward to the young people in this community. I want to be a steady, nurturing, and proud voice for the youth in need. I will stand by them no matter what. I will be their advocate. I will be their voice when they feel that no one has heard them. I want to listen to them and be there for them as a person who understands, who's been there, who can guide them on their journey. The need for recovery support programs for the youth has never been greater. Thanks to the generosity of people like you, we are going to be able to establish Rhode Island's first ever Anchor Youth Recovery Center, offering vulnerable young people hope for their future. And that's why I'm here tonight, to show you that not only is recovery possible, recovery is a reality. I'm living proof of that. The Providence Center is critically important to this process, and with your support, we can continue to change lives and save thousands of lives. Thank you.